22 jobs, one at a time. This is Backlog Buster's Final Fantasy V Single Job Challenge series. The core rule is to only use the assigned job. I'll be forced to go jobless using Freelancer until the assigned job becomes available. As soon as the job unlocks, I'll switch out of Freelancer and be locked into that job for the rest of the game, for better or for worse. I'll be doing my best to see the majority of the optional content, but it's going to depend on the individual job for some of it. As an additional challenge, I'm going to try and beat the game at as low a level as possible, and to minimize grinding, though some grinding is likely inevitable. Other than that, there are no restrictions. All equipment, game mechanics, and strategies are available to beat the game and see the credits. Working through that lengthy list one by one, this time I'll be playing. Let's continue the gruggening with Night. Just like Monk, this is a Windshriner job, so it's just snatching up Lena, Galuf, and Ferris, and coming down on Wing Raptor like a meteor. Extinction mode engaged. Oh, there goes the Wind Crystal. Knight's core job ability is Guard. This reduces all physical damage taken to 0 until your turn rolls back around. To go along with that, Knight innately has the Cover ability. Knights will jump in front of wounded allies about to bite the dust and tank the hit for them. If you're clever, you've immediately realized that Cover Guard is a pretty potent combo. You can set yourself up to block a critically injured ally and take 0 damage yourself. A very powerful core strategy that will likely get some usage. Otherwise, the Knight can equip knives, swords, and later, Knight Swords. For the rest of the gear, they can use shields and heavy armor. Pretty standard, but I can feel my wallet crying at the thought of needing to buy weapons this time around. One last thing before I thrash around in Torna Canal. I won't be running from battles this whole challenge. If you're in the know, you're in the know. But if you're not, I'll leave you hanging in suspense. Carlobos doesn't need any input. Just mashing attack on auto battle with the party's slew of swords gets me through the boss fight. Sildra gets slurped down below, and we end up at the ship graveyard, which again, is nothing to worry about as a melee job. Just slicing my way all the way up to Siren. And she immediately starts the fight with haste. Oh god, not like this. But in this first form, she's weak to physical, so after a few savage sword slams, she swaps to her undead form. Siren gets increased physical defense, but a glaring weakness to curative magic and items, which I choose not to exploit this time. Hey, my guys are gonna need those potions. Eventually she swaps back though, and the knights cut her down. Now a classic cruise down to Carwin. New weapons and armor for me, and a restock of potions. I'm gonna need them all, but I'm totally broke, so I need to grind a bit outside to afford everything I need. Now I'm ready to head to the North Mountain, and with that little bit of grinding, it's a complete snap. Just gotta dodge these flowers. Also, Lena can get poisoned by Magisa anyways. One round of sword slapping later, and here's Forza, Magisa's husband. Now, Magisa is considered in the back row, so it's time to grug it out on Forza instead. Forza is easily felted, and then Magisa's getting the business. That's one Windrake for me. My wallet feels a great relief that there's no new weapons and walls, but I will actually remember to grab the silver specs right now. Blindness immunity for one night. Unfortunately, there's new armor to get, so I'm doing a brief grind session again. I'll no doubt need the levels anyways. This is also the point where I learned Double Hand. I don't think I've ever used it, but let's see. Oh boy, that's definitely more than double damage, alright. Absolutely worth losing the shield for. Now I'm ready for the Walls Tower to stop the water crystal from getting blowed up. But Garula has blocked my path. Garula's just a physical attacker who counters your attacks with physical attacks of his own. The question is, can I win by just grug-moding it with Double Hand? Let's see. Auto battle, lend me your power. Oh boy, it actually worked. I killed Garula before his counters killed me. Double Hand really is my new best friend. Water crystal destroyed, but those shards are jobs for another time. I was half expecting to need to do a classic leave 2 guys in critical health to use guard cover to negate all the damage on Garula, which is usually a great strategy, but here I am in Karnak, completely grugged out of my gourd. Karnak's wild gnat grinding is back in full force. Knights don't kill nearly as fast as monks with kick, but it's still high efficiency grinding here. 20 minutes later and I'm arrested? What? I thought this was America! Sid breaks us out, and now I can finally buy some new gear and max out on my consumables. Well, except Phoenix Downs. Those are way too pricey. There's no loot in the fire ship, so it's straight down to the fire crystal. If only I could remember the right way down these tunnels. I finally made it, and the queen's gone crazy. Liquid Flame can be a really annoying fight. Just like Garula, he's got counters which immediately wipes out Ferris. She's out of the battle. Blaze is definitely going to be a problem though. I don't think I can out-heal it. That being said, my damage is absolutely off the rocker with double-handed swords. Wait a second, if the tornado form is just going to heal itself, I can do the same. Potions only heal for 50 a pop, but I just need to be able to survive a few more attacks. It was definitely a little dicey to say the least, but it only takes a few more strength mode swings and liquid flame goes down. Fire crystal blowed up, but more importantly, I gotta cheese it out of Karnak. Just like with Monk only, I want to get that elf cape. But unlike Monk only, the other side's treasure is actually usable on Knight. I'm running up the left side first, and I think my killing power is high enough that I can actually snatch up some elixirs and gil along the way. One trap chest later, and that's the elf cape, which grants a 25% chance to dodge physical attacks. Very powerful accessory. Now running up the right side, and some more chest pilfering along the way. After the battle at the end, that's the main gauche. The main gauche also grants a 25% chance to evade attacks. This stacks with the elf cape, so you can be super tanky with these two pieces of gear. The main gauche has very high attack power at this stage in the game. Unfortunately, it can't be two-handed on Knight, so it's actually not as good as it is for other jobs. Oh well. I did actually manage to get a lot of Karnak's chest, but now it's time to get lost. Ironclaw's here, and look at that, he's just deleted. Bye-bye. Karnak blowed up and more crystal shards for me, which means more rain checks for future videos. Time to search for a turbo nerd down in the library. Grug not understand why need all these books. The main gauche's damage is about 300 versus 500 from two-handing knights. This is an acceptable damage loss for the increased survivability it grants. I'm smashing books all the way down to Ifrit. Oh man, Blaze is gonna kill me if he keeps spamming it. But instead, he's got it out for galuf specifically. But I'm not complaining about that. Get Grug smashed. Now I can counter-bully the bullying book, and I can tear pages all the way down to the bottom for Byblos. Go ahead and open up with Magic Hammer. I don't need my MP anyways. But if you're immediately going to use Protect, my jimmies will be rustled. It turns out Protect isn't nearly as debilitating against double-handing knights as it is versus monks. I can actually still hit relatively hard. But so does Byblos. Confuse, Drain, and Wind Slash are all taxing me real hard. I found a high potion somewhere in my travels. I'm gonna use it. I've got a slow Bart's and a dream. You're my only hope. Yeah, that's about right. At level 17, I'm probably capable of winning, but I'm gonna grind a bit down here. At level 19, it's time for another attempt. Come on, instant protect again? That's Wind Slash number 1. I can only eat a few more attacks, but I'm putting my faith in the Grug Smash. Only the boys are left, but they're sucked to death too. Oh, this time he's just not gonna use protect? I guess I just get 2,000 free damage in. But Wind Slash and Drain are constantly destroying my party. I feel good about this fight though. I'm gonna throw some elixirs just to see. Unfortunately, the outcome was the same. We're leaving. There and back again at level 21. 2,500 HP down before the inevitable protect. He's just spamming Drain and Wind Slash again? Dude, nice. And there it is. One final suck to death. But this time, he just didn't use Protect at all, so I completely eviscerated him. I guess it's better to be lucky than good after all. Now that I have the fire ship, I'm shipping myself down to Crescent Island. Down to the forest, grabbing my remaining fire crystal shards and hopping on the black chocobo. I could make some detours, but instead I will progress the main story. Call me Lisan al-Gaib because I'm gonna hunt a sandworm. The whack-a-mole game begins. Looks like I will simply kill the sandworm before it moves one single time. Really starting to feel that Double Hand is legitimately insane. King Tycoon's lost and found, and hey, that's a new airship for me. Crayclaw is just Carlobos 2.0. Use as many tail screws as you'd like. Airship acquired, and now I'm heading straight to Jackhole for cool new gear. Starting with ninja suits for some extra agility, and buying coral swords, which are lightning elemental. These will of course be super useful for the Flying Ronka Ruins. Time to upgrade my airship. Hello again, Blue Turtle. Ow, those attacks hurt a lot. Have I underestimated the basic turtle? Oh god, he knocked out Galuf. But he did put Lena and Ferris into critical health. Barts will simply use guard and cover them, taking 0 damage. Glad I got to show this off at least once, even if it was quite brief. With my ship upgraded, I'm ascending to take on the floating Ronka Ruins. Guns, of course, my one weakness. But I have the machine type's one weakness too. My double-handed coral swords absolutely shred the cannons. This isn't even fair, dude. That's all 4 side cannons down, and it's time for the soul cannon. 3 attacks to kill the side launchers. Oh no, Ferris is old? She's on her way to becoming useless. I managed to kill the soul cannon before it ever got a wave cannon off. That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm doing a quick item restock before tackling the floating ruins. When I only have basic potions to heal, it's always scary making these dungeon crawls. I am a bit concerned because there's no running from battles either. I gotta beat everything down. There's some new gear available here like the gold armor, but what I'm really after is the ancient sword. This can inflict old on enemies, but more importantly, it's higher damage and non-elemental compared to the coral sword. But just kidding, I completely missed it by accident. I'm downgrading from coral swords to double-handed mithril swords and fighting Archaeoavis anyways. Rotating magic resistance is no longer a problem since I benched my coral swords. High physical defense sucks, but I've got no choice but to give him the old banana slammer. This damage could be a lot worse, honestly. And Bartz is doing great with his little franche main gauche. The first form of Archaeoavis is taken out without any issues at all. The second form almost immediately drops a maelstrom, putting everyone into critical health. But take one of my very valuable high potions and cover the rest of the team. That's Archaeoavis absolutely annihilated. Have I really been sleeping on knights this whole time? Are knights actually super overpowered? I made it in time to save the crystal. I can actually stop it from shattering. Yeah, alright. Hello, Exdeath. Goodbye, galuf. See you next world. But I can't help myself, I miss the old codger. Let's go hunt him down. Meteor 1 visited for Sid and Mid. Meteor 2 and it's time for the bomb squad. When a bomb is killed, it casts a rise, reviving all of the other dead bombs. The obvious strategy is to kill them all at the same time using target all attacks or spells. Unfortunately, I don't have any, but there is a nuance to this fight I can exploit. When a bomb self-destructs, it doesn't use a rise. Which means a new strategy emerges. I have 42 Phoenix Downs. I'm gonna spam guard to take 0 damage from physical attacks and bait out self-destructs. As long as I keep reviving people with Phoenix Downs, I can't lose. Once there's only 2 bombs left and I have 3 knights up, my victory is inevitable. What a great use of my job's mechanics. Meteor 3 and it's time for Titan, who is immediately smashed. His Earthshaker final attack is easily survived by my beefy knights. The last meteor, and it's the Chimera Brain. Would have gone better if I actually healed my guys first. Whoops, let's try that again. He's spamming Aqua Breath at Frost, but I barely managed to eke out a win. One more turn and I'd be donezo. Goodbye, Bartz's world. We hardly knew ye. Prison again? Man, it just keeps happening. Galuf's come to the rescue, giving Gilgamesh the old gash and slash. Battling across the big bridge, a real rematch with Gilgamesh. A short time later, he's buffing himself, but he's still just a Dragoon after all. And Dragoons always lose. Barrier blasted to the outer rim and I've got to get to Ruger. I have like 0 healing items left though. Which is apparently fine because I got there with only fighting 2 random battles. Thank goodness, there's a lot of new gear and most importantly of all, high potions are finally available. But I'm broke, so I need a lot of cash to buy all this stuff. After a short grind sesh, I'm getting equipped with sleep swords which are higher non-elemental damage that can also cast sleep. Worth noting right now is that regardless of my job level, the only useful ability knights ever learn is double-handed. Everything else is guard, equip armor, equip shields, and equip swords, aka all stuff that I have innately. The grind sesh took quite a while, but I'm fully clad with a huge amount of potions. It's time to head out to the Moogle Forest. It's time for the zombie dragon once again. Oh, sorry, Tyrannosaur. I decided to be a big dum-dum and not Phoenix down at this time. Attacking leads to actually getting destroyed by the blue magic, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. I finally learned my lesson though and I threw an elixir at it to win. Finally at the Moogle Forest, that means another elf cape and a dancing dagger. The dancing dagger has very high attack power, but it has a chance to use Dancer's dance command. Dance is just extremely inconsistent. You'll see when I get to Dancer in exactly 5 episodes. Since knives can't be double-handed, I shan't be using the dancing dagger though. I'm back to Galuf's castle, and I'm immediately out of Galuf's castle. Now into Quelb, and I'm buying some power sashes for extra strength! Then it's straight into Drakenvale. Crushing all these bone dragons and picking up the very valuable bone mail. The bone mail gives a lot of status immunity, while making the user pseudo-undead. They'll take increased damage from fire and holy attacks, and curative items and magic will damage them. It's a situational item, and a situation I will need it in has just come up with the Dragon Pod. But I won't learn anything from my last challenge. I will simply attack the Dragon Pod directly. Everyone's turned elderly and poisoned. It's never been more over, bros. I quickly grinded to level 28 and accumulated a bunch of Dragon Fangs to hawk for 2500 gil a pop. Now it's time to return from the place nobody has returned to from before, and that requires actually killing the Dragon Pod. This time, I'll learn from my mistakes. Killing all the small pods and then focusing on the boss, the way you're supposed to do it. Well, the dragon pod just didn't resummon the smaller pods, so I trashed it. Oh look, I made it back from Drakenvale. I sold 26 Dragon Fangs and the Hypno Crown for a lot of cash. Back to Galuf's castle, I'll quickly snatch up the greatsword from the moat, then it's up to heal the Windrake. I'm making a quick detour to Surgate Castle for even more greatswords. Everybody gets a greatsword. Now to check up on Sage Gido's cave, which is immediately sunk. And oh look, it's Zayza. Remember Zayza of the Dawn Warriors? Oh no, we're under attack. Gilgamesh 2, Electric Boogaloo. Or is it 3? Does the first one with the galuf count? Unsurprisingly at this point though, double-handed greatswords do a lot of damage. Enkidu makes an appearance, then Gilgamesh followed by Enkidu quickly make an unappearance. I'm heading into eccentric billionaire Zayza's homemade submarine. I shudder every time. Inside the barrier tower now, you know I'm grinding Reflect Knights for wall rings. But first there's a monster in a box right here. The red dragon holds a secret. This chest contains the Blood Sword. This is a knight sword that drains HP but has abysmal accuracy. It's actually an interesting sword to use when you have something like aim or X-Fight from Ranger to offset the negative accuracy. Unfortunately, with mono knights, it's just not usable. You spend way too much time whiffing attacks. Back on task, 4 reflect rings are mine. I'm up to the top of the tower now, where I picked up a 5th reflect ring along the way. Born lucky, baby. Atmos immediately destroys Galuf, but it's time for my master plan. Atmos, the giant interdimensional maw, is a tired little guy. He's susceptible to the sleep status. I'm back to double-handed sleep swords on all my knights. He gets hit, and then slept, only to be hit and slept again. Killed softly and quietly. Greatswords probably would have killed him in the same way, but putting him to sleep is way funnier. Oh no, not Zayza, my favorite character. Galuf body checked, and I'm off to find Sage Gido. Nothing of note in the cave, just down to the bottom, grabbing my Guardian Branch, and then heading out to Moor. Moor has a new influx of equipment, but not for me. I'm sticking with my greatswords. The forest is pretty uneventful as usual, right up until it gets set on fire. It's very important to grab this chest before escaping the flames. The Aegis shield makes you immune to petrify and has a 33% chance to block magic spells. It's incredibly strong. Grabbing this chest after the blaze turns it into a flame shield which absorbs fire spells. Both are good, but the Aegis shield is way better and a lot harder to get multiple of. Therefore a PSA, Aegis shield, every single time. Whew, by wearing the Aegis shield and not double-handing my knight's damage is about 3 times lower. I'm staying as a double-handed Grug Smasher for the time being. Now I can also pick up the first usable knight sword, the Flame Tongue. This has massive attack power and is fire elemental. But for the upcoming crystal boss fight, it's better to avoid all elemental damage. The crystals only physically attack right up until they reach 50% HP, and then they start spamming high-level magic. In theory, I could never die by using guard, but what I'll do instead is focus down the crystals by using the lost art of counting. Each crystal has 7,777 HP, so I need to get them to around 4,000, and then I'll wait for all of my knights to be ready and unload 4 attacks into them at the same time. Even though I'm really bad at math and eat some spells, Knight's massive armor and insane burst damage from Double Hand make short work of all the crystals. Blessed be, since those crystals can really be a serious problem. Exdeath comes to kill us, Cryle comes to save us, and then Galuf gets all tuckered out. He becomes the eternal snoozer. Haha, it's the classic in and outer. I love that trick. Kelgar, the last and most werewolf of all of the Dawn Warriors, dies, giving me access to real Exdeath's castle. The very first chest in here contains the Ice Shield, which normally I'd be peachy keen to use, but double-handed is so disgustingly overpowered, I'm gonna sideline shields. And in this room is another Knight Sword, the Ice Brand. Everyone's gonna get equipped with elemental Knight Swords at this rate. These dragons were a massive problem for monks, but for knights, they're just pushovers. Who could have predicted that being bricked up with insane weapons would have made the game a lot easier? I'm gonna take this fight with Gilgamesh. Time to absolutely smash him. Aw, blind? Eye drops across the board. Wow, he's really got it out for Ferris. Oh well, enough expository banter it is. Bye-bye. It's the Excalibur, a weapon I will talk about once I get around to Blue Mage and I guess Ninja, since it's otherwise very unremarkable. But it's time for Exdeath himself. Full reflect rings on my boys. Well, boy and 3 girls, which now I realize are all princesses. Exdeath didn't open up with Doom, which is just great. These reflect rings really seem to be messing with Exdeath's AI really hard. He's simply spamming Dispel. But there's a reverse polarity. I'm just gonna stay in the back row this time. I don't want to use a turn going back up to the front. Oh, classic. Poison breath almost killing everyone. But I've got items to spare. Spamming high potions actually feeling really good right here. I'm tanky in the back row and can actually recover my health. Exdeath's now finally spamming tier 3 magic, which is part of why getting Reflect Rings rocks. The other is that he's still spamming Dispel, fruitlessly trying to get rid of Reflect. That's Exdeath defeated on the first try. Definitely worth grinding those Reflect Rings every single time. Back in both worlds, another big Boobarts moment, and Kryl, I know your grandpa just died, but I'm body checking you anyways. We've been gone for all of 8 hours, and Boko got married and is having children. Guy wasted absolutely no time. Wait a second, antlions never attack people. What is going on? Used to be, you could walk through the desert without getting attacked by an antlion. Not anymore. Not if Exdeath has his way. Suffice to say, I crushed it. I mean, it ran away like a coward. Ferris is back in, and it's off to Exposition Cave, followed by Exposition Library. I'm straight into the desert now. I really need to head back to Moor. I've never run from any battles for this exact moment. A second main ghost hidden in a barrel. I mean, the Brave Blade, of course. The Brave Blade loses attack power for every battle you've previously run from. Since I've run from 0 battles, its attack power is maximum. That's not a joke either. 255 when double-handed. Now, it's time to test it out at the Great Pyramid of Moor. But here's a big problem. I have to kill the gargoyles at exactly the same time. The Brave Blade is actually too powerful. It kills too fast. This fight is actually really obnoxious as knights. Do I seriously have to do math and counting again? Yes. Yes, I do. I split my damage until both gargoyles are low enough. Then once they're both at low enough HP, I wait until my knights are all ready to go and queue up a slew of mortal blows. Glad I have 3 more of those gargoyles to do, but I'm in. The pyramid has some more goodies for knights, mostly another flame and ice shield. Yeah, this Brave Blade is legitimately crazy. I'm pilfering every chest because it's just that easy to slaughter everything. And I do still have to slaughter everything I come across. I can't lose any of this glorious attack power. Oh no, it's the Pharaoh's curse. I'm taking the slab, and I shan't be returning it. Time to just mosey on back through the forest. Oh, it's Lena. Remember Lena? She loves animals. Boss fight with Melusine once again. She's got a rotating magic resistance and spams elemental magic. But my strategy is simple. Put on Reflect Rings and smash her with swords. I've swapped from the elemental knight swords back to great swords, just for consistent damage output. Well, look at that. Monks were dealing 0 damage, but the knights can just smash her for 400 a round. Whoa, except for Bards with the Brave Blade. Definitely worth bravely battling and never running from a single random battle. Not gonna lie, it's always a relief once Melusine is gone, because I've got Lena back, and the world's my oyster once again. Step 1, as usual, is to go to the Phantom Village. I'm snagging up the Thief Knife, which I can actually use this time around. I'm gonna make an effort to steal some rare gear. I have the fattest wallet known to man. I'm buying ice brands and flame tongues for everyone, except Bart's. He's gonna keep rocking the Brave Blade. Black garbs from everyone from the store too. More strength equals more gooder. But you know the real reason I came here. And that's buying 4 pairs of Hermes sandals, of course. Permanent haste with immunity to slow, paralyze, stop, and sleep. Simply the best accessory in the entire game. And my fat wallet is now completely empty, but I'm fully clad. Let's skedaddle. As if I couldn't get any more powerful, I'm going to try and steal some Defender swords. This is a rare steal from land crawlers, and I can get them by using the Thief Knife. Defenders have really high attack power, and they also have an effect similar to the main gauche in that it can parry attacks. But the Defender is special, as it can parry magic too. I want at least 1, but I'll take 4, and just like monks, I'll probably need to grind a bit to survive the final boss anyways. No luck with the Defender, but levels are levels. I'm sitting pretty at level 41. And since I'm in the area, I may as well take on Bahamut at the North Mountain. An uneventful trip to the top, and there he is. Once again, Reflect Rings and the Bone Mail save the day. Auto battle, take the wheel. Almost immediately I'm hit with Maelstrom, then he's pushed back down to his final bracket. Getting those Reflect Rings was absolutely worth it as Bahamut blasts himself to next week with his own Mega Flare. I've given up on my dreams of stealing Defenders, but I have the power of the slab. At the sealed castle, I'm grabbing 3 weapons. The first of which is, of course, the Excalibur, a holy elemental knight sword with massive attack power. Next is the Assassin's Dagger, a knife with very high attack power and can cast instant death. The third is whatever I want because I can't use anything else. I definitely did not get trashed by a shield dragon on my way out. Confuse is pretty brutal when it's on Bart's. He hacked through my whole team like a holiday ham with the Brave Blade. At this moment I had a brief brain blast. I can put ice shields and frost brands on people and smash them for healing. They'll block a lot of the time, but it's a feasible strategy, especially if you attack yourself. I need to get the magic lamp, so I'm back on Boko and yoinking it. It's super important and fundamental to beating a few bosses. Since I must see the content, it's time for the island shrine. Aw man, not more gargoyles. Thankfully I didn't put on the Excalibur. I was busy with Icebrand Ice Shield shenanigans. This may seem like a mistake, but the gargoyles actually absorb holy elemental damage. Bart's one-shots the first gargoyle, and the three ladies triple-team the second one. Easy victory. Most of the treasure in the island shrine isn't worth it, but I can attempt to steal more ice shields from Sloanin at the end of the dungeon. I'm not a thief, but the thief knife can use the mug ability with a random chance. Ice shields are a rare steal, which means about a 4% chance to get. And after a while I just gave up. It's really tedious to rely on a random chance proc on a weapon that then needs to roll high for a rare steal. It would be cool to outfit everyone with ice brands and ice shields to smack ourselves around to heal, but it's just not gonna happen. Worth noting though is that the Excalibur blasts some serious booty. I'm not gonna leave the dungeon empty-handed, I must get the slab. The Wendigo is a shell game, and he's absolutely no problem with 4x Hermes Sandals negating his one main attack, Mind Blast. The old Truffle Shuffle is no match for getting smashed by a Brave Blade and Excalibur. Wendigo, absolutely demolished. The Fork Tower is open now. Bartz and Kryl, you head up the right tower as knights, and the Tycoon Sisters, you can head up the Magic Tower. I'm making good on my promise from Monk only. I'm cheating. Unfortunately, I'm not going to spend the 16 hours it takes to run Omniscient out of MP. I'm just going to pick up Fire 3 from Moore and change the Tycoon Sisters to Black Mages. I'm gonna blast every random battle in here with Fire 3, mainly because I want to preserve my Brave Blade's attack power. Listen, I could just sit here with Reflect Rings indefinitely until I win each battle. I'm just speeding up the process. I could skip the Fork Tower entirely though. Realistically, right now I could head straight down to the Rift, skipping all of the remaining content. But in the interest of seeing all the optional content, I'm making this little concession. Once the Tycoon Sisters are at the top, it's Bart's and Kryl's turn. Smashing all enemies with Excalibur and Brave Blade makes short work of the White Tower. This chest has a very valuable defender. I will definitely be grabbing it. In fact, I'm gonna use it right now. This takes a small damage hit over the Excalibur, but like I explained earlier, it's got a lot of defensive power and the ability to parry attacks. Minotaur's getting absolutely thrashed. He managed to take out Bartz in a desperate final attack, but Kryl finished him off with the defender. Now for the star of every single job challenge run, Omniscient. Every time you physically attack Omniscient, he counters with Return, restarting the battle. With Reflect Rings equipped, I basically can't die, and I could just run him out of MP over the course of, 16 or so hours, and then thrash him with physical attacks as he fails to counter with Return, because he has no MP. That's how you can beat Omniscient in every single job challenge, except Berserker. I've been there, done that. I'm obliterating him with Fire 3 to save myself the time. Here's a red loser stamp for your pain and suffering in this trying time. That stamp was worth it for a 3-minute battle versus 16 grueling hours of waiting around. Back to all knights now. I'm re-equipped and reordered. Defender and Aegis Shield on Kryl for some extreme survivability. Sid and Mid are rescued now, and my airship gets submarine capability. Always love going underwater in a homemade sub. One quick trip back to Phantom Village and I'm buying coral rings since the next stop is Istri Falls. Gotta love hawking a bunch of extremely rare weapons to buy rings for exactly 2 fights. Istri is pretty uneventful. There's another set of gargoyles here. I accidentally had the Excalibur equipped, which heals the gargoyles. Big whoops! I also learned something new today. When the gargoyles resurrect, it sets both of their HP to the maximum. It took me a lot longer than I'd like to admit to figure this out, but I finally managed to take him out. I'm thinking the Defender is a pretty good sword. Kryl literally parried death itself. The main pickup in Istri Falls is a second Aegis Shield at the bottom, which I totally forgot to pick up. I'm just completely on autopilot. That's slab. Give it to me. Oh yeah! Coral Rings equipped, which basically means Leviathan is a freebie. Tidal Waves going from mortal damage to healing me. The Brave Blade, Excalibur, and Defender are doing mad damage. The Icebrand's still doing okay. Kryl parries a goddamn Tidal Wave. Hell yeah. I desperately want more of these Defenders. But I'm done, and I'm heading straight to the ruins of the Titanic, I mean the Undersea Trench. After an item restock, of course. I learned my lesson from Monk only. One last set of gargoyles. Excalibur removed this time, and they're donezo. And Excalibur's back on. The Undersea Trench isn't as bad as it was with Monk, since I have way more killing power with these Knight Swords. It's still a massive tax on my healing items, though. At the Dwarf Village, well, it looks like Crystal Helms are new. I'll take 4, please. Fabulous gemstones, get in here. It's time to head to the bottom now, opening up all of the lava doors, and here's the boss. 3 disgusting babies in their multicolored briefs. I need to kill all 3 of them at the same time, otherwise they'll resurrect, and the easiest way to do that is to release the Genie of the Lamp! The third casting of the magic lamp is Odin, who instantly slices them all in half for a free win. On the way out, I'm hitting up the waterfall, which recharges the lamp back to full. Convenient, saves me a trip back to history on Boko. Since I've just been reminded of Odin, let's head through Jackal Cave now to absolutely thrash Odin under Castle Ball. Under a time constraint, it's all about double-handing. Uh-oh, he absorbs holy damage? Ferris, no more attacking, stop it. Despite healing Odin, I'm still done in 26 seconds flat. Time for more useless optional content. It's down to the Walls Tower to get Gogo. I'll simply mimic him doing nothing. That's right, I won the Shadow game, and now you're banished to the Shadow Realm. The last job, Mime, is acquired, and I shan't be using it. Let's do the Phoenix Tower too, why not? I actually skipped it last time on Monks. Whoops. Notable is that some of the enemies here can actually drop Hermes sandals. If you were running on a budget, you could just head straight here and get them for free. The Phoenix Tower is just a combat gauntlet all the way to the top, but you know what? I'm trashing everything, even these pseudo-bosses. The most dangerous part of this is Bart's getting confused and killing my team with the Brave Blade. But I reached the top, Phoenix acquired, time to walk all the way back down to the bottom now. The amount of parries I'm getting with the Defender is making me want more and more and more. I desperately want a full party of Defenders. I'm feeling like the Defender proc is more useful than the extra damage, since the attack power is still absurdly high. I've concluded it's time to head to the interdimensional rift though. Anything that's not useful anymore is getting sold for items, and specifically elixirs. Let's mosey. Straight through the desert, straight through the factory, and into the forest. Casually picking up an enhancer, which is actually pretty strong and might get some use. But then, Califisteri shows up. Reflect this, Blue Lady. Oh no, she's countering every attack with Drain, whatever am I gonna do? Even though she's busy sucking me off, she'll never recover enough health to survive. Absolutely demolished. But battles with Accolons suck. They have insanely high evasion despite being pigs. Why are they so evasive? I'm not allowed to run either, I need my Brave Blade's attack power to be maximum. At the Sacred Circle I'm saving, bypassing Omega, and it's time for a Panda. Who, to no surprise, is absolutely smashed with the power of two-handed Night Swords. The damage is off the chain. Inside the castle, and yeah, this is gonna be a big item tax in here. I can one-shot some of these enemies though, which is honestly a big relief. No, I am not the ones with the crystal shards. Just kidding. Have at you. Azul Magia is a blue mage, and unsurprisingly, he goes down pretty easily. Oh no, not level 2 old. Get killed, idiot. Another Sacred Circle for me, and here comes Catastrophe. He gets his one Earthshaker off and then is cleaved in half. Easy game, easy life. Two-handed Night Swords really are ridiculous. Smooched, but I know she's just a disgusting monster. Living the rest of my life as a frog would be pretty cool, but I'm giving maiden kisses all around. In the back row now, and I'll simply continue attacking, and now she's dead. Here I was thinking Knights Only would be somewhat challenging. I have so much attack power, this is just ridiculous. For Twintania, I'm thinking I might be able to just auto-battle and kill him. Okay, he's obviously weak to holy damage, but I guess I forgot that he Tidal Wave counters physical attacks. Suffice to say the Tidal Waves took me out, but this time I'll just try again with Coral Rings and continue my auto-battling strategy. Lethal damage turned into heals for me, and that's Twintania absolutely demolished. He didn't even begin to charge up Giga Flare. I guess Final Fantasy I's balls to the wall strategy was right all along. Gilgamesh is giving a stern talking to, and I'm slicing my way through the rift. Worth noting is that I can steal some very good gear down here. I can steal Aegis Shields from Gorgimeras and Bone Mails from Necromancers. I actually haven't really used the Bone Mail this playthrough, but in an ideal scenario, I would take 4 Aegis Shields easily. Oh look, they can also drop Ice Shields too, that's pretty cool. I'm skipping Necrophobe. Just kidding, I actually just wanted to get this cutscene done and played, and then I can just leave to challenge Necrophobe. Alright Necrophobe, time for revenge. Necrophobe's barriers have permanent reflect and cast strong magic on themselves to bounce it onto my party. Unfortunately for them, my attack power is maximum and my defenses are impregnable. 4 unbreakable barriers broken. Now for the real fun part. I can use Guard to negate all of Necrophobe's physical damage potential, right up until he just starts cheating with instant death spells. Lena's attacks with the Excalibur are dealing insane damage. I'm keeping Ferris on guard duty. I burned through a bunch of elixirs, but I managed to get through the Necrophobe fight this time around. As soon as Gilgamesh comes out, it's all over. I really am glad I did his small side quest. Self-destruct? Rest well, my friend. Your sacrifice for this save point won't be forgotten. I'm level 45. It's time to end this challenge. The conundrum I have is, do I give people shields or continue two-handing my way to victory? It's at this point I realize that I forgot the Aegis shield from Istri Falls. Well, I think giving someone the Aegis shield defender combo is still a good idea. Everyone else is two-handing. Ah, good old white hole, I missed you, buddy. You know, in the old versions of this game, if you were immune to one status effect, i.e. Petrify from the Aegis shield, white hole just totally whiffed. That's not true for the Pixel Remaster, though. I've got no reason to hold back. I'm ripping elixirs left and right. My damage is way higher than Monk only, so I made it to Phase 2 relatively painlessly. Triple rip on the magic lamp to get Odin out, and goodbye, sexy babe. We hardly knew you. Almagust is out, and I'm on death's door. I gotta heal up. That was an absolutely terrible Grand Cross. It took too long to recover, and I'm hit with another Almagust. Yeah, that went about as badly as it could have gone. As soon as someone falls, I'm just on the back foot. I feel like I just need a little bit more health to survive. More survivability from grabbing that second guaranteed Aegis shield would be a good idea too. And maybe I can collect another defender too. Blocking vacuum waves seriously is no joke. As usual, I barely scraped by, but checkpoint hopping got me out of there. Every time I enter the rift, I clear it, and then I need to leave so I can tune up for Neo Exdeath. Feels like clockwork every single time. I fought my way through Istri Falls to grab the Aegis shield I should have snagged the first time I was down there. I won't make that same mistake in future challenges, trust me. Now I'm back to grinding land crawlers in the desert. I have a 4% chance to steal a defender with a thief knife. Let's do this. I grinded 4 levels to get to level 48, and I managed to get 1 extra defender. Not to mention the 30 or so ancient swords I stole along the way. It's time. I'm selling everything. The whole whack of cash I got is getting dumped into extra elixirs. Can't take any of this money with me at the end of the game. Battling back down to the bottom of the rift. I have 2 gear setups now. My defensive knights and my offensive knights. I have 2 knights equipped with defenders and Aegis shields. Then the other 2 are double-handing the Excalibur and Braveblade. And of course, everyone's wearing Hermes sandals. My knights just broke 3,000 health. It should be enough to eat Almagust followed by a physical attack. On the way down the rift, I primed my magic lamp by using Bahamut and Leviathan so it should instantly kill the back part as soon as Phase 2 starts. I also managed to sneak out another level, capping out at 49. No, God, please don't show the cutscenes again. Just let me get into the fight, man, please. I took a significant damage output hit on my defensive knights, but I managed to smash Phase 1 before Exdeath did much of anything. Not gonna complain about that. Phase 2, I'm instantly magic lamping for Odin. Bye-bye, sexy lady, once again. Now I need to focus down one of the parts. Almagust is taking me down to about 50% health. I'm just gonna spam elixirs at this point. There's no need to hold back. That first Grand Cross mostly whiffed. Kryl actually blocked it. Poison, Petrify, and Silence, that I can deal with. Oh hell yeah, the Aegis shields and defenders are blocking vacuum waves left and right. I love it when a plan comes together. I'm gonna focus on the demon head in the front. Dude, she's blocking Almagust? Hell yeah. That's the demon head destroyed. I gotta split my damage evenly now to avoid the meteor spam at one part left. Imagine having to count damage. Another Grand Cross. Man, Letta got toted, and then she tanked a vacuum wave as a frogged? Girls get it done, for real. Bart's got hit with ult, so his damage output is gonna drop significantly, but I can deal with that later. Without Almagust dealing tons of damage to my whole party, I can actually stabilize. Dealing with both Grand Cross and Almagust is hard, but just one I can absolutely deal with. Bart's has still got some life left in him though, but he is definitely on borrowed time. Double block on Grand Cross, this setup was absolutely worth it. Old, blind, and a frog, I can deal with all of those. The front part's dead. Oh god, meteor directly into a vacuum wave? I gotta go for the throat and take it out. I've been splitting my damage, he can't have that much health left. Vacuum wave parried into Maelstrom? Uh-oh. I'm going for it. Auto battle, let's do this. And it's over. Lena slash the final part and victory is mine. That's Final Fantasy V completed using exclusively knights. Final Fantasy V Knights Only was completed at level 49 in a significantly speedier 16 hours, 6 minutes, and 52 seconds, which is pretty close to Monk Only when you account for the 16-hour omniscient time tax. Knight was a lot smoother and easier than Monk, mainly because of 2 things which becomes readily apparent when playing Knights Only. The first is that swords are by far and wide the best weapon class in the game. They're readily available and consistently getting upgrades. Weapon availability is a massive plus, by the way. You'll see how bad things can get when I need to use something like whips or spears. Knight swords especially break this challenge wide open. They have a ridiculous amount of attack power and usually some kind of other cool perk. I never touched it, but the defender sword can actually be used to cast Protect. Might have been a good idea versus Necrophobe and Neo Exdeath and his vacuum waves, in retrospect. The second is that double hand is just insanely powerful. I've never really used it, as I almost always favor dual wield or using a shield when playing casually. Double hand is not only a lot easier to get than dual wield, but way more effective. Knight was actually slower to get started than Monk because I needed a lot of cash early for weapon upgrades. But they were definitely worth it. While Monk's damage was fairly inconsistent and tapered off hard, Knight's never did. In fact, Knight's just got stronger and stronger as the game went on. The lack of job abilities is kind of a shame, since the only one you can even get value out of is Double Hand, but man, did Double Hand ever trivialize the game. The insane attack power bonus just lets you cleave through everything with ease. Even bosses with huge physical defenses just crumble before its might. Guard was surprisingly useful in a lot of circumstances, since a lot of bosses just favor spamming exclusively physical attacks. In past playthroughs, I've undervalued its usefulness, despite it being clearly insanely broken in specific situations. Shields are super useful in Final Fantasy V. I'll have to wait to show it off in some other challenges because I barely use them here. The Aegis shield being the exception, of course. There's a lot of potential for abuse of the elemental shields though, I'm sure of it. I love that Aegis shield defender combo. It's probably my new favorite in the game. It's really satisfying to just parry or block Grand Crosses left and right. I could have farmed for 4 Aegis shields, but there comes a point when it's simply time to end the challenge run. It really just takes too long to grind rare steals with a thief knife. You have to rely on the mug proc, it has to be successful, and then you have to get the high roll for the rare steal. It's a recipe for headache. As for ranking Knight versus Monk, well, Monk had a very brief period of time when it's a lot better than Knight, and a few easier encounters because of Kick. But once those are done, Knight just completely leaves it in the dust. That's Knight only complete, and one more Final Fantasy V challenge down. Thanks for watching Backlog Buster, and I'll see you in the next video.